breaking tonight, a Chancellor in crisis. But if you think Rachel Reeves is bad, just wait until you see who's lining up to replace her.
Watch how Rachel Reeves is confronted in a fiery showdown inside the House of Commons that quickly turns personal and explosive. What happens when a bold MP compares the Chancellor to a rogue landlord squeezing the public dry? During the high-stakes spring statement, Robert Genrick launches a brutal attack over rising costs and fuel duty. Is this justified criticism or political theatre at its most intense? Before we continue, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Britain Daily. It's completely free and it helps us keep bringing you the hard-hitting stories that matter. Let's watch this explosive clip.
Robert Genrick.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Chancellor is like a rogue landlord who keeps squeezing the tenant with higher and higher rents. All the while, the property is going to rack and ruin. I don't know who she's speaking to, but she needs to get out and talk to hard-working people who are hard up right now. People worried about their bills and the lack of good jobs, not the extremists that she cozies up to for votes. Now, the next scheme that the Chancellor has to raise taxes on working people is to hike fuel duty at the pumps. Will she cancel it? Will she give some relief for care workers, for white van men, for hard-working people who get up early in the morning and drive to work, and who are the backbone of this economy?
Chancellor of the Exchequer.
May I be the first to congratulate the Right Honourable Gentleman on his new role. I know it wasn't the first job he wanted, or indeed the second one, but a spirited intervention. I'm not sure if he shared this one with George Osborne. I could venture maybe one piece of advice. The thing about betraying your party is that you have to stop asking your old friends for advice. But perhaps, given that he called his new colleague Zia useless a couple of months ago, he needs all the friends that he can have. Now, it might have been a couple of weeks ago, but the Right Honourable Gentleman used to be in a party that was going to get rid of the fuel duty support just 3 months after losing office. That was in the plans that we inherited and we scrapped them. As a result, we have extended... Well, they say it's rubbish, but it was actually in their last budget. And party's budget and his party's manifesto.
Abraham.
I came into politics because I believed in a government that stands up for working people. That everyone, no matter where they grow up, deserves security and a fair chance to achieve their potential. And that being able to manage the bills, afford a home, and pay for a holiday is never too much to ask. When governments lose control of the economy, as the Tories did, it is working people who pay the price. In their pay packets, in their bills, and in their mortgages. That's what the party opposite inflicted on working people over 14 years. Austerity that cut off investment. Brexit, which cut us off from our closest trading partners. And Liz Truss's disastrous mini-budget. Cheered on by the leader of the opposition and by the honourable member for Clacton. Oh, he's not here today.
I call the Chancellor of the Exchequer.
Mr. Speaker, this government has the right economic plan for our country. A plan that is...
Order. Sorry. Look, both sides, if you're not interested, please, you don't have to stay in the chamber. I'm interested, my constituents are interested, and your constituents as well, Chancellor.
A plan that is even more important in a world that in the last few days has become yet more uncertain. With the unfolding conflict in Iran and the Middle East, it is incumbent on me and on this government to chart a course through that uncertainty, to secure our economy against shocks and protect families from the turbulence that we see beyond our borders. I want to express my gratitude to members of our armed forces as they serve across the globe to protect our country. And I want to reassure this House that I am in regular contact with the Governor of the Bank of England, with my international counterparts, and with key affected industries, including our maritime sector. And tomorrow I will meet with our North Sea industry leaders to discuss the implications that they face and work with them to manage this uncertain period. Mr. Speaker, in an increasingly dangerous world, I am proud to be the Chancellor that is delivering the biggest uplift in defence spending since the Cold War. With £650 million committed in January to upgrade our Typhoon fighter jets, a new Royal Navy frigate launched from Rosyth last week, and just yesterday, our £1 billion helicopter deal with Leonardo. I am in no doubt about Britain's ability to navigate the challenges we face. The plan that I have been driving forward since the election is the right one. Stability in our public finances, investment in our infrastructure, including our armed forces, and reform to Britain's economy. It is a plan to reshape our economy and break with the failed ideas of the past. Building growth are not just the contribution of a few people in a few places, but in every part of Britain, with a state that doesn't stand back, but that steps up. Strengthening our trading relationships and our alliances, creating capacity in our economy through affordable housing, better transport and free childcare. An active and a strategic state, building growth and economic security in an uncertain world. Stability is the single most important precondition for economic growth. That is why we have committed to a single major fiscal event a year, limiting major policy changes to the budget and giving businesses and households the certainty that they need. Today, the new forecasts from the Office of Budget Responsibility show that our plan is the right one. Inflation is down, borrowing is down, living standards are up, and the economy is growing. Mr. Speaker, this government has restored economic stability. The previous government allowed inflation to skyrocket to over 11%. They stoked interest rates to 15-year highs and delivered the first parliament on record where people were poorer at the end than they were at the start of the parliament. That is their record. I recognise the impact that what the Conservatives did had on families. We promised change at the election, and I understand the responsibility on me to deliver that change. I know that the question that people will ask themselves at the next election is this: are me and my family better off? I am determined that the answer will be yes. The promise that we changed the change that we promised has already started. There have been 6 cuts in interest rates since the general election, the fastest pace in reduction in 17 years. And inflation has fallen. For businesses, that means lower capital costs and greater uncertainty. And for families, it means more money in their pockets to spend in local shops and on the high streets. Those interest rate cuts will save households over £1,300 per year on a typical new fixed-rate mortgage. And real wages have risen by more in the first 18 months of this Labour government than they did in the first 10 years of the Tory government. At the budget, I went further to deliver the change that people rightly demand. I extended a 5p cut in fuel duty for a further 5 months. I froze prescription charges for the second year in a row. I froze rail fares for the first time in 30 years. And I am taking £150 off of energy bills from next month. In February, the Bank of England confirmed that inflation will fall faster because of the action that I took in the budget. And today, the Office for Budget Responsibility expects inflation to come down even faster than it forecast in the autumn. Mr. Speaker, in the current global context, with the risk that rising energy prices will put upward pressure on inflation, the action that I have taken is even more crucial. Keeping inflation low and stable is the best way to support family incomes and reduce pressures on the cost of living. But that's not all we've done. This Labour government has funded 30 hours of free childcare for working families. We are rolling out free breakfast clubs at primary schools. And we are set to achieve the biggest reduction in child poverty over a parliament since records began by reversing the shameful 2 child limit imposed by the party opposite.
What you've just witnessed is a classic example of how quickly tensions can escalate in British politics, especially during major economic announcements. When Robert Genrick stood up and delivered his sharp critique, he wasn't just challenging policy, he was tapping into a growing sense of frustration felt by many across the country. Rising costs, pressure on household finances, and uncertainty about the future are issues that resonate far beyond the walls of Westminster. His comparison of Rachel Reeves to a rogue landlord was clearly designed to hit hard, and it did. It painted a vivid picture of a government accused of squeezing more from taxpayers, while, in his view, failing to deliver meaningful relief. And when he raised the issue of fuel duty, he targeted something that affects millions of people directly, from care workers to small business owners who rely on their vehicles every day. But Reeves didn't hold back. Her response shifted the tone from policy to politics, taking aim at Genrick's own political history and questioning his credibility. It was a calculated move, turning the spotlight back on her critic and reframing the debate. Moments like these show that in the House of Commons, it's not just about the argument, it's about who controls the narrative. And that's what makes exchanges during events like the Spring Statement so compelling. These are not quiet policy discussions. They are high-pressure confrontations where every word is scrutinised, every reaction analysed, and every misstep amplified. The bigger question, however, goes beyond this single clash. It's about trust. Do people believe that the government truly understands the financial pressures they are facing? And are the solutions being offered enough to make a real difference? Genrick's attack suggests that, for some, the answer is no. Reeves's response suggests she believes the criticism is politically motivated and inconsistent. And somewhere between those two positions lies the reality that millions of people are trying to navigate every day. So now it's over to you. Do you think this was a fair challenge to the Chancellor, or just another political attack designed to score points? And more importantly, do you feel the current economic policies are helping or hurting ordinary people? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. These debates don't just shape headlines, they shape the direction of the country. And before you go, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Britain Briefed. It's completely free, and it helps us keep bringing you the most powerful, unfiltered moments from UK politics. Stay informed, stay engaged, and we'll see you in the next one.